you've moved us quite seamlessly into the quick fire round. Okay.
Okay.
So
Hit me.
the first question is your favorite career milestone.
My favorite career milestone was, and it still makes me anxious actually. I just felt it in my chest. My first welcome meeting with TUI in Menorca. Good friend of mine, Rachel Stamp, ended up pushing me on stage because I was shaking, I was sweating. I felt a bit like Slim Shady on, do you know when he did
The film.
yeah, it felt like that. And I kind of got out there and I stammered so much I thought I was going to pass out in the first 5 minutes, hyperventilating through not getting enough oxygen to my lungs. And once I broke through it, it just reeled off my tongue. And after that, it never happened again. I just kept going and going. It became a drug. So that was the milestone for me. Stood
Game
up
changer.
in
Game
front of
changer.
these
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And question two. So top productivity tool. So a busy man like you, there's only 24 hours in the day. What do you use? Do you think that sort of helps you? Is it like apps or is it like a podcast or anything that helps you get
Yeah,
more?
so I'm a tech nut. I only use Apple devices just because of the seamless integration. If I wasn't doing that, I'd have to use all Microsoft devices again. So everything's linked up. LinkedIn, 5 a.m. every morning. So I get up at 5, look at LinkedIn, see what's happening in the industry today before I even look at my email because the industry is more important than me personally. Um, Podcasts. I listen to an AI Start podcast every morning. He's an American guy. Love his accent, find him really funny, but also learning loads about AI in the meantime as well. To-do lists, mobile, everything's on my phone. I hardly write. Everything is mobile or tablet generated. So I've got a to-do list function that kind of auto-populates my day, so I know exactly what's going on. ChatGPT, biggest time saver. Don't use it at school, kids. Need to be really careful with that. But I've learned a lot about prompts, about coding, about creativity and productivity within ChatGPT. I found out about something called hallucinations next week, where ChatGPT gives you a 3,000-page response, but it's all wrong. So you've got to be with it. Going for a walk at lunch, half an hour away from everything, just my own mind, my own thoughts.
Get mind, yeah.
That really helps. And I've got a young daughter who's two and a half. So I stop work at 5:30 every day. I never go over 5:30. I have my time with her. And then when she goes down, if I have to jump on something late at night, then I will do. But yeah, and I used to do really long emails. They're now short and sweet, and my team understand that. So I communicate to them, listen, you're not going to get a long response. You can ask me a question, I'll give you an answer.
Yeah, I've had to explain myself, and I'm not in
Yeah,
any way,
yeah.
in a mood or anything. It's just I'm just really quite brief on my emails.
It's really weird that how it's changed because email was like a letter, and then you'd have your phone for a text message or SMS. And now and kind of the emails come more towards the SMS rather than the letter because it's just not productive to be asking everybody how their day is.
Yeah,
And then everyone responds saying, "Oh, I had a great day."
yeah, yeah.
What are you going to do with
That's
the information?
loads of productivity tips there. I'm going to have to take you
Yeah.
through that. I think that you've actually answered 3 of these questions. I think, but the next one is: what would you suggest is most important, brains or determination? To your
Determination every day.
thoughts.
Every day.
Well, you've already answered this, but what did you first want to be when you grew up? It's
Work
a
for my dad, police officer.
police officer. That's what you said, yeah. I feel like I'm questioning you now. I think may have already answered this, unless you're both morning and evening. But are you a morning or evening person? And if you are a morning person, what time do you start? And if you're an evening person, what time do you finish?
It's a weird response for you. I'm an evening person, but I get forced into being a morning person. So
Right.
I um I prefer working in the evening. I feel I get more done, but my brain is too tired. But psychologically, I think that's where I best perform. Um, I'm actually better in the morning. I start at 5, so my alarm goes off at 5. I go downstairs, make a coffee for my wife, who's usually still snoring. Make myself a coffee, make my little girl a bottle of milk, and then I'm go, go, go. So I leave the house usually at 6 a.m. to get into central Birmingham for 7. And then I'll be really high octane until probably about 1 o'clock, and then I just my energy starts to go. But as I said, usually 5:30 every day, boom, done, laptop off, family time. Because if you don't get that time, what's the point in doing all this other stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's really important for me. But I just find at 5 a.m., it sounds really corny, but the birds are tweeting outside still. You can clear your inbox without anyone responding to you. It's
yeah,
quite
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Um, get in the car and then you're like, "Well, I'm ready to go now," rather than having to
yeah,
catch up from the night before.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting ahead. I'm exactly the same sort of routine as yourself. I feel like I'm getting ahead and sort of like cheating by getting in at 5 o'clock, so I can get everything done and nobody's replying, and I can get through my inbox. So yeah, I feel that. Um, Best source of info for staying ahead. I think you might have answered this in your previous
LinkedIn.
question. LinkedIn, yeah.
If you're not on LinkedIn already, get yourselves on LinkedIn. Seriously, the amount of learning on there is just incredible.
Hmm. I suppose it's just also like social media. It's just try not to spend all day on it as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
go to second or the next question is go to stress relief technique. So we all get busy, and so that you're the best dad when you leave work and all the rest of it, and see your little one. I suppose she might be your stress relief actually. But
Yeah.
what would you suggest is your go-to stress relief technique?
Um, I've done a lot of, well, I've been through counselling because of COVID. It really messed with my head. Been locked in a kind of one place the whole time. Um, so I learned a lot about how you deal with stress and anxiety, and how you then uh, decompartmentalize it all into different areas. Because I used to get real bad fog during COVID. Kind of you'd have these different challenges, especially being in travel, but you weren't able to see through them because everything's kind of morphing into one problem. So I'm really good at separating problems out in my own mind now, and then being able to unbox them and focus on the one thing at the one time. Um, I know that's not easy to do, and I've gone through a lot of training to be able to do it. But I'd say for me, I walk. I do something called Reiki, um, my spiritual side with my chakras all been aligned. I do that once a month, and I come out and I feel like I'm floating on air.
Right.
Really great, really great. And then my daughter, yeah, it's kind of my daughter, my family, my wife. My wife's really not hard on me, so that's the wrong word. Is really kind of strict on you leave the stress at the door. Okay, you come out of your office, you're now family guy, you're not businessman. And I really struggled with that when I first became a father, but just the ability to walk out of a stressful situation and then be playing with a 2-year-old who then throws up on you, and you're there going, actually, what I was worried about didn't actually matter at all. This is what matters. It's good. It's really good to understand that. Well, what actually matters in life? Your job doesn't matter.
Mm.
Your people matter. Your tribe matter, and
Mm.
it's kind of just reflected and understanding that.
Okay. One word to describe your career so far.
Chaotic. um, uh, Chaotic and incredible.
Good. Good.
Uh, why chaotic? It is chaotic. I paint it that at times it's a walk in the park. It's by all means not. Um, the chaos of the travel industry the last 3 years, 4 years has just been horrendous, affected more than any other industry in the world. We shouldn't have survived. We did. Chaotic on my approach to it, but incredible. You know, Had I thought when I was 18 that I'd be sat in the position I am today, not at all. Not at all. Beyond my wildest dreams. Um, but I know I'm not finished yet. And I know now my belief in myself and what I've learned and my secrets, how far I can now go. There's no stopping me now because I've understood it.
Yeah. You've kind of succeeded on your own. You had your mentor before, now you've had, and you've got that confidence now. And
Yeah.
it does take a long time, doesn't it, to get that confidence in yourself. And no, fair play to you. And what is the main trait you would look for in a teammate at work?
The main trait. Someone who's authentic. So you work with a lot of people that you think you know, or you do a lot for because you think they'll do the same for you. They won't. They won't. It's you learn very quickly in your work life that the people, you know, I'm not saying everyone, but you'll meet people that you think are the same as your friends or the same as your family. They're not. They're your work colleague. You may go out and have a drink with them on a staff night out and have a really great time and think, oh yeah, they're just like my mate. They're not. Your friends are there. Your real friends in life are there because they love you. People you work with, you may get on with them. They may be great people, but they're not there for you. They're there for themselves. And that authenticity of people is so important in the workplace because, you know, you spend more time with people that you work with than your friends and family. And if people aren't authentic towards you, whether their views or whether they talk behind your back, all this stuff, that's been the most important thing for me. I was lucky working overseas and living with people that you work with. You know, for 9 years, I lived with the people that I work with. So I got to know them on a different level than the work level, and you get to see through people and their characteristics. And for me, it was always that authenticity in people, and you find it in people. And I can still see it now with everyone I've worked with ever since. I've been able to tell straight away if someone's been authentic or whether they're just because you can play the game if they're fake. But that authenticity is what I've always been able to highlight because of living and working with people for so many years and understanding the traits. So that's the most important thing to me.
I think that works well. I think previous person we spoke to, I think, was talking about being themselves. I think maybe one of the tips was to be them, to be authentic. Yeah. So it goes hand in hand with that because if you're not yourself and you're trying to be somebody else, it's so hard to keep up. And it's not going to succeed in the long run. It's not good for you and it's not good for the employer and it's not good for your teammates if you're trying to be something that you're not. So yeah, authenticity is massively important for both the employer and the employee.
But no one will ever tell you that when you go for a job interview or any of it, because people always go, I have to be my best self. No, because you're then being your fake self. You're not being you. And, you know, when I was going for interviews, you know, I was going for interviews and kind of it was like, well, I'm not going to get the job because I don't have the grades. I don't have the qualifications. I've not applied for a job since 2009. Every job I've had has been approached to me, which just because I've just been me. I've never been anyone different. And, you know, I know what my limit is on the type of corporations I can work within because I have a boundary that, you know, wouldn't be accepted in some big firms. They would go, you know, you don't have a filter. You say what you think. That doesn't fit with who we are as a business.
You don't play the game necessarily in some.
No, I don't. You know, I've got something I love. I've got something I'm passionate about, and I'll drive everything forwards for that. But that has its limits, you know. But I can walk out of work every day saying everybody that I've encountered today and engaged with knows exactly how I felt. You know, no one goes home thinking, oh, you know, am I in trouble with the boss? Or no one goes to bed on a Sunday night thinking, is he going to say something? You know, because I've been there myself, man. I've felt rock bottom. I felt like I've not been good enough. So, you know, for me as a person now, everyone I want to speak to, I want them to know they're good enough. as long as they're just themselves. Because if you try and raise their expectation and then can't deliver, people will just go, they're not good enough.
Mhm.
So, for me, it's that authenticity is just so important.
Yeah, I think someone said that to me the other day, and I'm not sure it was a backhanded compliment, but they said, "Oh yeah, I could work for you, Dan, because I think I know where I stand with you, because you're always saying what you think." And
Yeah.
hopefully, it's fine to disagree with people as long as you're respectful and you
Yeah.
just, that this is what I'm thinking and why. Whatever everybody else thinks, that's fine. I'm just, putting my and this is why, and then that's fine as long as you respect.
100%.
Yeah. Last question then.
Go on then.
Interview tips. So there's lots of people out there going into interview maybe tomorrow and what have you. What is the big tip that you give them?
Prepare, like, number one, only apply for a job that you really want. Don't just scatter approach everyone, because the problem is when you scatter approach, someone will call you for an interview and the potential of actually not understanding the job remit because you've applied for all these other jobs is massive. So the preparation first, apply for jobs that you know are going to help grow you personally. Don't be scared if you don't feel you can do the job. You can learn how to do the job once you've got yourself across the line. But that preparation factor and every, not so much of a job interview, because I've only had one. Every sales meeting I've always gone into, I've taken a question that someone once told me that they ask in every interview, and that was, is there anything today stopping you from employing me within the job? Now, I always thought it was quite ballsy, but it gives the interviewer the opportunity to give you feedback there and then. And then by them giving you the feedback, you have an opportunity of kind of, number one, it's a good question to ask because the interview is on a back foot. You get the feedback and then you answer the feedback for them.
Yeah.
Rather than them just writing you a cold letter 2 weeks later saying it was really great to meet you, but you haven't got the job. I do with every single sales meeting I ever have.
Yeah, it's a great idea, because it gives you an opportunity there and then to answer their doubts that they might have, and just be quite clear, because there's many times I've probably done it myself, or we'll put a proposal out there and we didn't get it, and I'm thinking, why did we not get it? And we send it a sort of feedback, thanks for letting me know. Was there any particular reason? And the response is always a little bit vague, and or the response could have been, well, if you told me that at the time, I could have answered that, kind of thing. So it's simple, but it's a very effective tip.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I actually asked it on a first date once. I took a girl on a date. I didn't like the response, so I didn't push it. I didn't give her any feedback. I just took it on the chin.
Olly, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, there's so much to take away from that. I really appreciate your time, and we'll put this out there for everybody to see, and hopefully we'll stay in touch and see where your career takes you next.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much, and I'm going to go see my daughter now. So thank you.
You should. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Olly.
Take care, Daniel. Bye bye now.